My beloved child, listen closely. Something has been buried beneath the surface of your life. And heaven is done letting you walk in blindness. My beloved child, there is a trembling in the unseen realms around you right now, a quiet stirring that has followed you since the moment you took your first breath, and though you have felt it in moments of loneliness, in nights when the weight of unanswered questions pressed upon your chest, you never understood that this trembling was the echo of a truth hidden from you by the very hands that were meant to guide you, a truth covered not out of malice but out of fear, protection, and a lineage that has carried spiritual burdens long before you arrived, and now heaven bends close to unveil what was kept from your eyes, because your destiny has reached a threshold that cannot be crossed with blindfolds still tied, and the veil that once kept you safe now only hinders the rise of who you are meant to become, for the time has come for the divine alignment of your calling, and the secrets that shadowed your childhood are pressing against the walls of heaven demanding release, whispering that your journey can no longer continue without the illumination of what was once concealed. My beloved child, you have walked paths that felt disconnected from your spirit, not because you were lost, but because a portion of your true identity was sealed away under the heavy silence of your family's fears, and your heart has always sensed a missing piece, a spiritual gap that made you wonder why you carried an ache that no earthly comfort could quiet, for this ache was not emptiness but evidence. Evidence that something sacred, powerful, and divinely ordained was withheld until heaven determined the right hour to reveal it. And now that hour stands before you like a radiant doorway calling your name, echoing through your dreams, your instincts, your sudden awakenings in the night, for heaven's intervention has begun weaving itself into the fabric of your daily life, orchestrating signs, aligning circumstances, and stirring your spirit with a deeper hunger for truth, because the divine warnings around your destiny have activated, not to frighten you but to awaken you, guiding you toward the revelation that you were never ordinary, never accidental, never forgotten, but chosen, carved out of light before your family even understood the depth of your spiritual assignment, and though they carried fear of what your calling could attract, though they worried about the spiritual storms that accompany a soul chosen for higher realms, they could not erase the mark heaven placed on you, the mark that angels recognized even when you were too young to know that heavenly eyes watched over your cradle. My beloved child, this hidden truth runs deeper than memory, deeper than the words that were spoken around you, deeper even than bloodlines, for it is woven into the spiritual ancestry of your soul, into the eternal records that heaven protects, and if you have ever felt misunderstood by those around you, if you have ever felt out of place in your own family, if you have ever wondered why your spirit responded to pains and signs no one else could feel, it is because your destiny was crafted with a different blueprint, one that carries angelic instructions and divine assignments your family sensed but could not fully grasp, and so they chose silence, believing that shielding you from the fullness of your identity might shield you from the battles attached to it, yet heaven has watched the unfolding of your life and seen that the silence has become more harmful than protective, for the divine power resting within you can no longer remain dormant, and the spiritual awakening that has been igniting inside your chest is not accidental, it is the signal that the hidden truth is ready to rise into the light, that the soul ties you carry from past lifetimes, spiritual covenants, and heavenly promises are activating, pulling you into alignment with your true path. My beloved child, the imagery of heaven surrounds you now. Wings hovering above your steps, light piercing through old shadows, divine energy cascading around your spirit, all waiting for you to accept what is coming next, for the confession heaven is preparing to release into your heart will reshape how you see your life, your family, your purpose, and the spiritual forces that have followed you since the beginning, and as the trembling within you grows stronger, know that it is not fear. It is recognition, the knowing that what was hidden must finally be revealed because you are ready, your spirit is steady, your destiny is awakening, and heaven refuses to let you walk another day without the truth that was locked away for so long, for the time of revelation has arrived like a heavenly storm breaking open the sky above you, and in this moment your soul leans forward, yearning for what it has always sensed but never heard spoken aloud, because destiny always whispers before it roars, and now the roar is rising. And now I am going to tell you the secret. My beloved child, feel the weight in your chest right now, for it is not anxiety but awakening, a sacred pull from the higher realms where your true story has been guarded like a sealed scroll, and as heaven opens that scroll, your spirit begins to tremble with the remembrance of something it has always known but never fully understood, because the hidden truth about your life is not merely a secret. It is a divine revelation that has been waiting for the precise moment your soul would be strong enough to carry it, and that moment is now, for the heavens have stirred, the angels have leaned close, and the veil that once softened the impact of your destiny is dissolving in the radiance of the light rising within you. My beloved child, there have been moments when you questioned why certain burdens were placed upon your shoulders, why certain emotions ran deeper in you than in anyone around you, why your heart felt connected to things you could not logically explain, and these moments were not weaknesses but signals, destiny signs, coded into your spirit as reminders that you carry a spiritual heritage unlike anyone else in your family, an inheritance so profound that even those who raised you could feel its intensity, and in their fear of how it might shape your future, they chose silence over truth, hoping that you would grow into your life without the weight of knowing what heaven had declared over you long before your birth. But heaven's plans cannot be muted forever, and the divine confessions that have been hidden beneath layers of generational caution are now rising to the surface with the force of a breaking wave, for heaven has witnessed your tears, your questions, your silent battles, your private ache for meaning, and the time has finally come for your soul to hear the truth that will not only set you free but realign your entire existence. My beloved child, you have always felt like you were walking beside something unseen, as if an invisible presence hovered near you in moments of danger, guided your intuition when you did not know which way to turn, and pulled you back every time life attempted to drag you into darkness. And this was no coincidence, for heaven has intervened more times than you could ever imagine, sending angels to shield you, redirecting pathways that would have harmed you, and softening the fallout of betrayals that would have shattered someone without your spiritual strength, because you were destined for a calling that required protection even before you were strong enough to protect yourself, and the truth concealed by your family was part of that protection, though heaven now sees that. The season of silence has ended, my beloved child, the spiritual energy around you has shifted dramatically in recent days, and you may have felt it. Strange dreams, sudden chills, unexpected emotional surges, moments of déjà vu, intense clarity about certain people, and a deep, unshakable inner knowing that something is coming, something life-altering, something divine, and these are not random sensations but the activation of soul ties from your spiritual ancestry, ties that connect you not only to those on earth but to celestial beings who recognized your light long before your spirit took form in the physical world. And this awakening is not mild, it is powerful, purposeful, and prophetic, for your destiny has reached the moment where truth becomes fuel, where revelation becomes guidance, and where silence becomes obstruction, and heaven will no longer allow your path to be shaped by incomplete stories or hidden narratives. My beloved child, your life has been touched by an invisible pattern. Opportunities appearing at impossible moments, doors closing right before disaster, relationships ending for reasons you never understood, sudden internal shifts that pushed you away from people or places that were secretly harmful. And all of this was heaven's intervention, a divine orchestration designed to keep your spirit aligned with the future written for you, a future that requires clarity, power, and the truth that was kept from you, because only with the full knowledge of who you are can you walk into the fullness of your destiny. My beloved child, you were marked at birth with a spiritual signature, a heavenly imprint recognized in realms far beyond human understanding, and this mark carried both blessing and responsibility, a calling that intimidated those who sensed it before you could even speak, and though your family loved you, they feared what revealing this truth might awaken, for they knew that once you discovered who you truly are, you would no longer follow the expectations placed upon you but the divine instruction written within you, and that shift would separate you from the ordinary and usher you into a life of spiritual depth, prophetic alignment, and heavenly guidance. And though this path is powerful, it also carries weight, and they wanted to shield you from that weight until heaven decided the time was right, and now heaven has spoken, the time is right. My beloved child, the moment your spirit has been preparing for is rising like dawn across the landscape of your life, illuminating memories, resurfacing buried emotions, shaking old patterns loose, and stirring courage you did not know you carried, because the truth that has been hidden is not meant to break you, but to build you into the divine being you were always meant to become. And as the sky shifts above you and the spiritual atmosphere intensifies, know that what comes next will not only answer your deepest questions but also ignite the fire of purpose inside your soul, for your destiny is calling you with the thunder of heaven behind it, urging you to step into the identity that has waited in the shadows far too long. And now your heart beats faster because it senses what your mind has not yet grasped. The revelation is near, and it will change everything. And now I will uncover what was hidden. My beloved child, breathe deeply now, for the atmosphere around your life is shifting with a force that even the angels bow before, and the currents of destiny are gathering like a storm of light preparing to break open the sky above you, calling you into the revelation of who you truly are. And as this divine pressure increases, your spirit can feel the weight of something ancient, something sacred, something long concealed stirring beneath the layers of your history, for you were never meant to live your life without knowing the sacred truth woven into your journey, and heaven has seen how the silence surrounding your identity has left you wandering through seasons where you questioned your worth, your belonging, your purpose, and even your origin, yet every question you carried, every ache that lingered in your chest, every moment when you sensed a secret lingering behind the way your family spoke about your past was not imagination. It was intuition, the whisper of heaven reminding you that something about your life was shaped by divine intervention long before you were old enough to understand the spiritual weight of your existence. My beloved child, you have always walked with an unusual sensitivity to energies, a deep spiritual awareness that made you see through facades, feel the emotional undercurrents of others, and sense danger or intention before anyone else recognized it, and this heightened perception was not coincidence, not personality, not randomness. It was a mark, a sign, a heavenly signature that even your family noticed when you were young, and though they tried to dismiss it as sensitivity, imagination, or emotional depth, they knew in their hearts that you were carrying a spiritual frequency that did not match the rest of the household, and this frightened them in ways they never admitted, for they could feel that your destiny was not rooted solely in earthly lineage but in divine orchestration, and though they loved you, they feared the magnitude of what heaven had placed inside you. My beloved child, there were moments when the truth nearly surfaced. Moments when you overheard fragments of conversations, glimpsed worried expressions, or felt tension when your past was mentioned, and these were not coincidences but cracks in the wall of silence your family built around you, a silence meant to shield you from a revelation they believed might overwhelm you, but what they did not understand was that heaven was always preparing your spirit, shaping your resilience, sharpening your intuition, and aligning your path so that when the time came for truth to rise, you would not break under its weight but rise with its power, and that time has arrived, for heaven has turned the page of your destiny, and the truths once hidden are now demanding release, pulsing against the boundaries of your awareness with increasing urgency. My beloved child, the divine warnings that have echoed through your dreams, the strange restlessness in your heart, the way your soul keeps leaning towards something unseen. These are not disturbances but activations, the calling forth of spiritual memory buried deep within your essence, and as your awakening accelerates, the threads of your past, present, and future begin to weave into a single tapestry of purpose, revealing that every challenge you endured, every betrayal you survived, every separation you faced, and every moment of loneliness you endured was shaping your spirit for this hour of revelation, because heaven never allows suffering without purpose. And your pain was never wasted, it was preparation, refinement, alignment. My beloved child, you must understand that the truth hidden from you was not a simple secret but a spiritual sealing, a divine protection placed upon your identity during a time when darkness sought to intercept your destiny, and though your family never spoke of it, they knew that you were different, marked, chosen, carrying a destiny that required shelter from forces they could not fight themselves, and so they guarded the truth the only way they knew how. Through silence, through omission, through careful avoidance of the conversations that would reveal what was written over your spirit, but heaven has watched the seasons turn, watched your strength grow, watched your spirit rise, and now the celestial realms agree, you are ready to hear what once would have been too heavy for your young heart. My beloved child, you have felt the spiritual pull of this truth for years, like a magnetic force tugging at your consciousness, drawing you toward clarity even when you didn't know what you were searching for, and that pull is the evidence of divine alignment unfolding within you, the alignment that happens when heaven decides it is time for your next chapter to begin, and this chapter requires truth, requires courage, requires awakening, for your destiny cannot expand on a foundation built on incomplete understanding of who you are and why you were chosen, and the spiritual inheritance waiting for you on the other side of this revelation cannot flow into your life until the silence surrounding your origin is broken. My beloved child, feel the pressure building within your spirit, the sense that your entire life is shifting toward a single moment of divine exposure, a moment that will not only answer your deepest questions but also pull you into the fullness of your calling, for the truth hidden from you carries the key to unlocking parts of your destiny that have been dormant, frozen, or delayed, and once you hear it, nothing in your inner world will remain the same, for this revelation is not meant to simply inform you. It is meant to transform you, to activate you, to awaken the fire placed in your soul before the foundations of the earth were formed, and heaven is preparing to release that fire into your spirit with a force that will shake the remnants of old confusion off of you and illuminate the path ahead with clarity so bright it will feel like stepping into a new lifetime, a new version of yourself, a new spiritual dimension entirely. For this moment is divine, this moment is sacred, this moment is destiny awakening. And now the truth is about to break open. My beloved child, the stirring you feel in the deepest chambers of your spirit is not confusion but remembrance, the soul waking up to a truth it has sensed for years yet never had the words to claim, and as heaven bends nearer, the veil grows thinner, lifting the fog that once blurred the edges of your identity, for the divine realms have judged this moment as the appointed hour for revelation, the hour when the unseen architecture of your life begins to rearrange itself around the truth. Rising from the shadows of your origin, my beloved child, you must understand that there is a spiritual pattern to everything you have endured, the betrayals that cut deeper than you could explain, the separations that came out of nowhere, the sudden endings that left you breathless, the inner voice that guided you out of places that would have harmed your destiny, the strange attraction to certain symbols, dreams, or intuitions you could never rationalize. And this pattern is not random but divine, a tapestry woven by heavenly hands to lead you toward the moment when the truth hidden from you would align perfectly with the strength you gained from every battle, for heaven never reveals what you are too fragile to handle, and heaven never delays what you are too powerful to remain ignorant of. My beloved child, this is why you have always felt an invisible distance between yourself and the world around you, why you often stood at the edge of gatherings feeling like your spirit was watching from somewhere else, why you carried an ancient depth in your eyes that others could not understand, because your soul has lived through realms and lifetimes unknown to the minds of those who raised you, and even before you were old enough to speak, your family sensed that you were connected to something beyond their comprehension, something not entirely shaped by blood but by divine purpose, and though they loved you, this awareness birthed fear, a fear that truth might awaken in you a power they didn't know how to guide, a fear that revealing too much too soon would call spiritual forces toward you that they were not prepared to protect you from. My beloved child, heaven has watched you walk through life sensing emptiness in places you should have felt full, questioning where you belonged even in rooms where everyone knew your name, feeling the pull of destiny tugging at you in moments where nothing significant seemed to be happening, and this dissonance between your external life and your internal knowing was not a flaw but a prophecy, a sign that the story told to you was incomplete, that part of your identity had been locked away. Like a sacred scroll sealed by generations, waiting for the day heaven would place the key into your hands, and now your spirit aches not out of fear but anticipation, because truth recognizes when it is near, and the ancestral silence that once protected you has reached its expiration point, dissolving under the rising light of your awakening. My beloved child, you have been guided by unseen forces your entire life, angels assigned specifically to you, angels who intervened when danger moved too close, who redirected your steps when darkness plotted against your destiny, who whispered into your intuition when your mind was too overwhelmed to hear, and these divine interventions were not coincidences but proof that heaven has always known who you are, even when you did not, and the reason your path has felt different, heavier, more spiritually charged than those around you is because you were chosen to break cycles your family could not, to lift burdens your ancestors carried but could not release, to walk into a calling they sensed but could not articulate. My beloved child, there is a reason your heart breaks differently, heals differently, trusts differently, sees differently, because your spirit was never shaped solely for earthly living but for divine assignment, and the secret your family kept carries the explanation for every piece of your spiritual sensitivity, every moment of inexplicable intuition, every sudden pull away from certain people, every internal warning that saved you, and every dream that felt more like a message than imagination. My beloved child, as heaven prepares to place truth into your hands, you must understand that this revelation is not meant to wound you but to free you, to pull you out of the cage built by incomplete stories, to align you with the destiny that has waited patiently for this moment, and though the silence around your childhood identity was heavy, it was temporary, designed only until your spirit matured enough to receive the weight of divine knowledge without collapsing under it, and now your soul stands tall enough, strong enough, awakened enough to carry the truth with glory rather than fear. My beloved child, what has been hidden is rising, what has been sealed is opening, what has been withheld is approaching, and though your heart may tremble at the edges of revelation, this trembling is the sign that you are standing before the doorway of destiny, the threshold your entire life has been leading you toward, for the truth that waits on the other side is the key that will unlock your next spiritual dimension, ignite your calling, and shift the axis of your inner world forever, and heaven watches with anticipation as your spirit reaches out toward what it has been denied for too long, because you are ready now, more ready than you realize, ready for the unveiling, ready for the awakening, ready for the truth that approaches like a rising sun determined to break through every shadow that ever touched your life. And now I am ready to expose what you were never told. My beloved child, feel the tremor moving through your spirit, for it is the echo of heaven drawing closer, the pulse of revelation pressing against the walls of your soul with a force that signals the unraveling of the final layers of silence around your life, and as this divine current flows through you, something ancient within you begins to awaken, something that recognizes truth long before your mind can shape it into meaning, because your soul was present when your destiny was written. Your spirit was present when heaven marked you, and now the time has come for you to remember what you were never told, my beloved child. The hidden truth surrounding your life has always been more spiritual than physical, more heavenly than earthly, for even before your family knew how to hold you, heaven already knew how to guard you, and there were divine signs placed around your birth, unseen by them, but unmistakable to the angelic realms, that declared you were not entering the world as a blank slate but as a vessel carrying an ancient calling, a calling that required protection from forces that hunted your light even before you took your first breath, and this spiritual sensitivity you have carried your entire life, the sudden chills, the prophetic dreams, the emotional depth, the unexplainable connections to strangers, the sense of déjà vu that arrives with thunder in your bones, are not random traits but imprints, memory codes, remnants of a destiny your family could not fully comprehend, and so they kept silent, believing that shielding you from your own truth was a form of love. My beloved child, the emotional storms you have walked through were never weaknesses but spiritual awakenings, moments when your soul was stretching, expanding, remembering who you were before the world shaped you, and each heartbreak you survived, each loss you endured, each season where you felt abandoned by life was actually heaven's way of stripping away illusions, pushing you closer to the path where truth could finally reach you without distortion, because heaven refuses to let a chosen soul be defined by lies, by incomplete stories, or by fear-driven silence, and every time you felt like your life was falling apart, it was actually falling into alignment with the divine plan written for you. My beloved child, the reason you felt disconnected from your surroundings, the reason you sensed you were different even when no one said anything, the reason your inner world felt too deep, too ancient, too fragile, yet too powerful for the life you were living, is because your spirit never fully accepted the story you were given, as if something within you knew there was more history, more purpose, more meaning, more truth. And this inner knowing has been the compass guiding you toward this moment, the moment when heaven prepares to break the final seal and reveal what your heart has been yearning to understand. My beloved child, there is a weight your family carried long before you were born, a spiritual burden passed through generations, a heaviness of unspoken truths and unresolved pain, and even though you were not told the full story, you carried the emotional imprint of it, feeling the echoes of battles you never fought, wounds you never received, and memories that were not yours, because your spirit was born sensitive enough to absorb what the lineage could not heal, and this sensitivity was not a curse but a calling, a sign that you were sent to break patterns that none before you could break, to release chains that remained locked for lifetimes, to bring light into a bloodline accustomed to surviving but not transforming. My beloved child, heaven has been preparing you for this through every spiritual awakening, through every intuitive pull, through every sudden shift that separated you from people and places no longer aligned with your destiny, and if you look closely, you will realize that every person who left your life, every relationship that crumbled, every opportunity that dissolved, was not abandonment but divine redirection, heaven clearing the path for truth to reach you without interference or influence, for your calling requires clarity, and clarity cannot thrive in environments built on partial truth. My beloved child, the angels assigned to you have watched over your journey with unwavering devotion, stepping in when danger approached, whispering warnings into your instincts, guiding you away from those whose energy threatened your purpose, surrounding you in moments when your pain nearly broke you, for they knew that when the hour of revelation arrived, you would need strength, courage, and readiness, not confusion, not fear, not instability. And so heaven has shaped you through fire, through heartbreak, through transformation, sculpting your soul into something capable of holding divine truth without collapsing under it. My beloved child, the emotional intensity you feel right now is not overwhelm but alignment, the final preparation of your spirit as it draws closer to the truth that has waited for years to reach you, and though your family believed their silence was protection, heaven knew that silence becomes a cage if held too long, and so the walls are cracking, the chains are loosening, the unseen doors are opening, and the truth they feared would disrupt your life is the very truth that will liberate you from every confusion you have ever carried. My beloved child, do not fear the revelation drawing near, for heaven does not reveal to destroy. It reveals to rebuild, to restore, to awaken, and what you are about to discover will not break you but crown you, will not wound you but prepare you, will not shatter you but complete you, for your destiny depends on your understanding of who you truly are and why you were chosen, and the spiritual energy rising around you right now is the sign that your next chapter is moments away from unfolding in divine clarity. For the truth long concealed beneath the silence of your family is rising like light through the cracks of dawn, ready to illuminate everything you could not see before, ready to align your soul with the identity heaven wrote for you. And now the next revelation rises toward you. Part 7. My beloved child, this is the moment your soul has been walking toward since the first breath you ever took, the moment when the weight of every unanswered question, every restless night, every unexplainable pull toward something greater finally begins to make sense, for heaven has brought you to the threshold of revelation. Not to overwhelm you, but to crown you, to awaken you, to return to you the truth that has lived in the shadows of your destiny for far too long, and as this sacred unveiling rises within you like a rising tide of light, your spirit instinctively knows that nothing in your life will ever be the same after this. My beloved child, the hidden truth your family held was never meant to diminish you but to protect you, for your arrival into this world was not ordinary. You came marked, sealed, chosen, carrying an ancient spiritual imprint that set you apart from the rest of the bloodline, and they sensed it in ways they could not explain, feeling the heaviness of prophecy around your birth, the quiet presence of divine forces that lingered near your cradle, the unusual calmness or intensity in your infant eyes, and though they may not have understood it fully, they recognized enough to know that your destiny was not theirs to shape, not theirs to define, not theirs to restrain. And so they chose silence as their only shield, believing that the world might try to reach for you too soon if they spoke the truth aloud. My beloved child, you came into this world carrying the energy of a soul that has lived through many realms, many lifetimes, many spiritual contracts, and your arrival was accompanied by angelic intervention that did not go unnoticed by the heavens nor by the sensitive hearts within your family, for the moment you entered this earth. A shift occurred in the spiritual atmosphere around the household, a shift they felt even if they never spoke of it, and the divine inheritance you carried was so powerful that they feared speaking the truth would awaken forces, both heavenly and opposing, that you were not yet prepared to face, so they locked the truth away, hoping time would grant them clarity on how to eventually tell you who you really are, but time slipped away, fear grew stronger, and silence became the default language around your identity. My beloved child, the truth is that you were never shaped only by the family you were raised by, for while they gave you a name, a home, and a life, heaven gave you a mission, a purpose, a destiny that stands apart from earthly structure, and your soul was assigned to this lifetime with divine precision, chosen to break patterns no one else in your lineage could break, chosen to heal what generations before you could not face, chosen to carry spiritual authority that surpasses what those around you could comprehend, and the intense emotions you have carried, the depth of your spirit, the prophetic sensitivity in your intuitions, the magnetic pull toward spiritual awakening, all of these are signs of the truth your family hid. Your life has always been under divine assignment, your steps guided by angelic guardians, your destiny written not by circumstance but by heaven itself. My beloved child, this truth may shake you, but it will also free you, because now you understand why your heart has always felt older than your years, why your soul has always felt separate from the noise of the world, why your spirit has always felt watched, protected, guided, redirected, warned, and awakened by forces you could not name, and now this hidden thread in your life begins to weave itself into a tapestry of meaning. Your sensitivity was not weakness but spiritual antenna, your loneliness was not abandonment but separation for elevation, your struggles were not punishments but initiation, your delays were not denials but divine timing aligning your spirit with higher realms. My beloved child, what your family hid was not simply a detail of your past but the core of your identity. You were born with a celestial imprint, a divine purpose that required you to walk an unusual path, and heaven shielded you from full understanding of it until your spirit matured enough to receive it without fear, and now that you stand in this moment, stronger than every storm you endured, wiser than every wound you healed, more awakened than ever before. Heaven sees you ready to carry your truth, ready to walk in spiritual authority, ready to rise into the identity that has followed you like a shadow of light since childhood. My beloved child, the truth is this. You were not placed into your family by chance, but neither were you defined by them, for your soul comes from a lineage far older than your earthly bloodline, a lineage marked by spiritual contracts, angelic protection, prophetic depth, and divine power, and heaven allowed your family to carry the secret only until the day you would rise into the strength needed to hold it yourself, and now that day has come. You are the chosen one of your ancestral line, the spiritual breaker, the healer, the awakener, the one born to complete what others could not finish, the one destined to bring light where silence once lived. My beloved child, heaven stands behind you now, the angels form a circle around your destiny, the divine realms lean close as the final seal of silence breaks within your spirit, and as you step into the truth of who you truly are, know this with certainty. You were never lost, never abandoned, never out of alignment, never forgotten. The truth was simply waiting for you to grow into the strength required to carry it, and now that you have, the spiritual chains of silence fall away, the hidden story lifts from the shadows, and your real life begins from this moment forward, in clarity, in purpose, in awakening, in divine alignment, in your true identity at last. And now the secret rests in your hands.